says, I want to just talk to you for the next 20 minutes or so about automation strategy. Why do you need one? How do you get started? And how do you measure ROI? And really, yeah, just get you thinking about that. Really, we've had a funny old year in 2020. We've talked to lots of our partners and customers about embracing automation and how that might change things in your business. So the sort of things I want to talk about today is actually factors that drive businesses towards automation, the return on investment, give you an idea of how we might do it, give you a little glimpse, only a few screenshots of our platform BPA. We've created some out-of-the-box solutions that might help you in the short term and be some quick wins, and also just give you some examples of what other customers have done from a process automation perspective, with regards to using Sage 200 or any other systems really for that matter. So when we originally actually run this webinar to some other business partners in early part of the year when we were in the first lockdown, that's when the businesses really started thinking about automations first time round. We're still there, obviously, but when we look at why people are looking to automate processes, there's a number of things that might come into play. And we chose to do a quick pest analysis, really, just to highlight a few points as to why you might be thinking about it. Because it's not just this is taking me 2 hours a day. This is this is a manual, laborious process. There's bigger things at play potentially that might get you thinking about this. So from a political point of view, there's all sorts of things out at the moment. How are we going to execute Brexit in the next month, and just a general sort of growing friction between trading blocks, EU, US, China. Hopefully Joe Biden might steady that ship. But we're already talking to customers at the moment that are telling me that because the shops aren't open, the warehouses are full. Because the warehouses are full, the ports are blocked. And actually, when we then do the new legislation around Brexit, what does that do to getting goods into the country? What does that do to our supply chains? From an economic point of view, there probably will be some type of recession going to carry on into 2021 or some kind of downturn. I know we're recovering at the moment from the first sharp downturn, but we'll have to see what the government do around inflation, tax rises, and what does that do to the people that are spending money out there? Do we have unemployment? Are people spending less money? Government subsidies might end, whether that's around furlough or just generally propping up businesses. And we're seeing the first bunch of businesses really, unfortunately, are starting to fold. News of Debenhams and Arcadia Group in the last few days there's a clear sign that there's some businesses out there that are having to think about how to move forward. And actually, the loss of labour, if you're in manufacturing or distribution or anything like that, if someone gets COVID in the warehouse and all of a sudden you've got to self-isolate half your workforce, or in an office, for example, how do you deal with that? So interesting times. From a social perspective, all of our customers are doing things differently now. The way we live our lives is, hopefully we will go back to normal and we start seeing people again. But at the moment, lots of it is online. We're not going out to physical shops. We're not going out to restaurants, pubs, coffee places. Got social distancing or local lockdowns. And actually, people are doing a hell of a lot more around the home. So actually, online presence and customer experience is just really important right now. And from a tech point of view, luckily we got the technology we have at the moment. Otherwise, I think this pandemic might have been somewhat different. But actually, our customers are all on internet devices. The Internet of Things is really growing. Infrastructure is growing, and everyone's looking to sell online and take on Amazon in some respects, or sell on Amazon. So there's a lot of that going on at the moment, and embracing technology on how we interact with our customers and suppliers and stakeholders is really important. So that's how we feel there'll be an impact on how businesses trade, and essentially I think what's going to happen is that we are going to have less people spending money and more people trying to sell online. So I think the competition will be quite fierce online to try and sell, and probably in other avenues too. I think with potentially through Brexit and just the supply chains, and we might find that the profit margins might be squeezed because it might be more difficult to get goods into the country potentially, or we might have less people to get goods from. I know the building trade was backed up for some time because it just couldn't get the materials, and we will see lots of people moving online, which does mean actually when you are selling to your clients online, whether that's through a portal or whether that's through an e-commerce platform of some sort, customer experience is going to be critical, right? Because everyone's going to judge you against Amazon. I've seen that quite a lot. We all buy on Amazon. I've tried to make a point of buying from independent retailers, and the sad reality is they don't stack up at all. You know, delivery times are longer, websites are cumbersome, and you really have to force yourself to not buy from Amazon sometimes. What can I do for your company? I mean, I've mentioned some of these just a minute ago, but you know, potentially, if it takes you less, if it's easier to serve and it takes less time to serve, you actually have better margins. You can ensure compliance by doing the same things all of the time in the same way, whether that's checking up on accreditations, whether that's sending out certain emails to customers, better audit trails, reduce admin, and just generally improving consistency in your company data that you're dealing with. And you can increase visibility of critical information in the business. For your customers, it might mean that fulfillment times are quicker, customer service is better, returns is better. You could get the lead times down, communication 100% is better, which improves the customer experience. So those are really important points. And the customer, by the way, could be your customer, it could be your employees, or it could be your suppliers. Is anyone that's dealing with your business. You know, if you can improve communication and the way that you're running those processes in a steady way, it can have a really big impact on your customer experience. So if we took an example process, and sorry that there's a bit of a heavy hint on e-commerce here at the moment, we just do so much of it at the moment. That said, I've seen quite a lot of people buy CRM systems as well this year and having to link that into their existing processes. But if you look at just an e-commerce order, we all buy stuff online, particularly now Christmas. I mean, Amazon or just parcels in general turn up every day. But from buying something to it arriving at your door, so many things have to happen. And if you don't, well, if these are places where you should automate, for example, right? So if you took an e-commerce order, it comes in on the website, it has to be put into your finance system or into your WMS system. So that's 2 points of data entry. You then need to ship it, which means it's got to go into your 3PL, or it's got to go into DHL, FedEx, UPS, whatever courier that you use. That's 3 integration points. At that point, your customer needs to know, I've got the order, it's in the warehouse, it's being shipped. That's potentially 3 notifications to create that experience that we're all used to. You've got to get the data down to reconcile with the bank. You should update your CRM to say, actually, we've got a new customer, they bought X, Y, and Z. In 3 months' time, one of our salespeople should go and speak to that customer to see, hey, how did it go? How was your experience with us? And would you like to buy some more stuff? And if we haven't got the stock, if we're sort of working on just in time, then we need to place orders with suppliers to actually be able to ship those goods. We've got to create pick lists, we've got to raise purchase orders for new stock. And we should be triggering customer feedback, whether that's a survey, another email, an SMS, and we should be monitoring poor feedback. Anyone that gives us poor feedback, we should be all over that. So as you can see, in just one simple process, there's numerous points of places where you either have manual data entry, which is okay when there's not many orders, but if it goes up, how do you cope with that? And there's numerous places where us as people, unfortunately, we can make mistakes, which has an impact on the customer experience. So the one thing I've sort of said at quite a few times in this last year is, if you are in your business, if you are able to do everything you do now with the people you have now, but you have twice as many things going on, if you can't do that, then you should automate. And can you do what you do today with half the people? If you can't do that, then you should also look at automation to an extent to help you out. And those are the key crunch points that I've seen this year for sure. From a case study point of view, we have 4,000 customers worldwide in various channels, but the general story often is actually we want to automate repetitive and manual processes, and we want to improve our customer experience. So Starlight, they bought BPA to integrate eBay with Sage 200, and it was delivering feedback, getting the order process more efficient, and getting rid of manual admin tasks. And I think they said it took one employee all day, every day to input orders, whereas that just doesn't exist now. And Lightbulb Group was another one. They actually had 3 core business systems that they wanted to integrate and create a number of workflows from different systems into Sage 200. They were using Salesforce as the CRM system. So it's just getting systems talking. Better visibility of the customer, 360 view of the customer, as they call it. And that's what they achieved by doing that. And that's what the team of solutions could help you to do. So from a return on investment, we used to always say, well, if it takes John an hour every day, that's 5 hours. He gets paid £10 an hour. That's 50 quid a week. It's £250 a month. And that's your return on investment. And really that's quite far from the truth, to be honest, because John still want to work there. So you need to look at, when it comes to automation, you need to look at 5 or 6 different things of why would I do this? Because there's an opportunity cost, which actually means if I've got someone doing something that's manual that could be automated and it takes 2 hours a day, what could that person do with those 2 hours every day? We should look at getting people to do people things, which is talking, empathizing, innovating, and just generally being good at doing the things that people do. And we should get our computers to do the menial, repetitive tasks. That's what computers are good at. Give them a set of rules, let them do it. So that's one thing. If you look at from an audit trails point of view, is there anything in your industry where you might get fined if you don't do a certain thing? So the GDPR piece, for example, was one thing. But do you need to send certain emails? Do you need to check on certain things at certain times? So actually, the BPA can really help you set reminders for that and send out automated messages to be compliant. From a security point of view, we see a lot of people send spreadsheets around the business that then get updated. Actually, in some people's eyes, doing things like that is a real security threat, because you're potentially taking financial data out of a finance system onto an Excel spreadsheet, which gets sent around the office. Do we know where that data goes potentially? It basically there is the potential of a security breach with that data. So actually, you should be looking to link systems at a database and API level essentially. So there is no spreadsheets flying around the business. And just looking at general sort of standardization and impacts. So look at if something isn't done, what does that mean? I think this example actually, Bethan, came from your team. If a code's not entered into an invoice that prevents it from being paid, was been rejected. So actually, you get paid 30 days late if you don't put project codes into certain systems. So tell us about things that are not happening, so that we can make sure that we are aware, early doors. And just standardizing your process, remove bottlenecks within the business. If something should run in the same way every day, in the same fashion, doesn't matter if, we have this in our business where if the woman that does the licensing, if she goes off, then we have a mad scramble to try and cover that. And we're working on automating that. So if you have anyone that is a real bottleneck, if they go on holiday and you think, oh dear, we're in trouble, that's where you look at automation. And reputation, particularly as we're now speaking about integrating potentially customer-facing systems, if we aren't able to react in a certain way to certain customers, they could give us bad reviews on TripAdvisor, on eBay, on Amazon, and that's quite damaging. We all look at that. So these are really important factors to think about when it comes to automation. How do we help you? Well, we got a set of technology stacks that obviously solutions for accounting will be able to implement for you and work with you on. We got BPA, which sits in the middle, which is the platform that does the integrations, the alerting, the reporting. That's been around for 20 years. It's been as a Sage channel for more than 10 years, and we've got hundreds of customers on Sage using that. The applications piece is more around creating customer portals, creating approval workflows, product information management systems and CRM systems. And we've got an SMS engine as well to then feed from BPA to send SMS text messages out to customers and do SMS kind of feedback loops as well. We do that for many housing associations actually, as far as alerting goes. This is what we can connect to. So if you think about your business, Sage is probably the middle, that's where you work. But actually we integrate with EDI platforms, we integrate with distributions, with payment platforms, any e-commerce. marketing systems, courier systems, and CRM systems, whether that's Sage CRM or Salesforce. Actually, I know the solutions do both of those. You can use BPA to do very flexible integrations between the two systems, so that you're increasing that visibility of what you're doing within the business. And the product is set up in a way where we have essentially a set of tools that create a set of processes. So there's event tools that kick off a process. There's input tools that get data, got connectors to write information into systems. We can format the data. We can send it out via email, FTP, print, SMS, and we can also route those processes down different paths and send it to files on the network. So there's a total array of flexibility, which basically means rather than some of the plugins that are out there, this can be completely molded to your business if you want it to be. Or we have many templates that get you 60 to 80% of the way there with an out-of-the-box offering. Okay, this is what it looks like for those more technical on the call. You create processes that look a bit like this. The nice thing here is you're not coding anything. So if you wanted to make changes later on, you're able to remove a step and add a new step, or make changes within certain steps, and it certainly de-risks the solution in some way, shape, or form. And this is where you manage all of the tasks that are then in your setup. And this is how we would map data. So you get a general gist, quite graphical, quite easy to oversee. Some customers do this stuff themselves, but ultimate flexibility when it comes to automating processes within your business. And we have, like I said, many templates that can help you with that. We will send you a workbook that will come from Bethan, which will help you around, why do automation strategy? What do I need to think about? And to get you going, we have created a financial and stock governance pack, we call it. It's not marketing's finest hour, but that is what it does. It looks at finance data and stock data within your Sage 200 system. And really the benefits of it are that you are identifying problems before they exist. You might say, actually, tell me when a certain item is within 10% of reorder level so that I can start kicking off, rather than telling me when I'm out of stock. Tell me when people are, if they haven't paid their invoice. Tell me when they've gone over their credit days. And you can just concentrate on doing what you need to do for your business, because you'll be told when things are about to go wrong so you can rectify them. And you don't need to devote employee time to tasks like that. You can automate reports. You can pull data out of multiple systems, create a Crystal report or an SSRS report, or even just an HTML dashboard that can be emailed out. That doesn't need to be done by a person. and yeah, I mean, that really should save you a lot of time, to be honest. And they're all pre-built. And essentially, what they will cover off is, I mean, these are just some, but we'll share the full list off the back of this webinar. But some of the examples are customers near their credit limit, best-selling lines by profit, best sellers last month, stock availability low, cash collected in the last X number of days, outstanding invoices past due date, and the largest purchase orders. And you can actually create any alert that you like. So if there's something in your system that you want to know that's important to you, it's very easy to say, get me that data, put it into an email or an SMS, and send me that every morning at 8 o'clock so that I know. Rather than me having to log into Sage 200 to go and get the data and remember to do that, just send it to me, just so I can have a quick look. So that's what we bring to the party.